Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. It's September 24th, I believe, and I'm trying to get some of the things cleaned up out of my garden and get prepared. We're actually over a week past our average last frost here in Saskatchewan, Canada. We have not had frost yet. We got really close a few nights ago, and it's time to start getting the garden cleaned up while the weather's still nice. We actually have a beautiful week forecast for this week, but I know it won't last, so I need to start taking care of some of the things that can be torn out now. And one of the things I want to work on today is my squash patch here. There's some terrible powdery mildew happening in here in the last 10 days or so, and most of the squash looks like it's ready to be harvested, so it's time to just get this cleaned up and out of here and ready for the next season. So I'm going to go through and harvest any of the squash that are ready. I think they're all ready. There are a few cantaloupe in the middle, and I'm not sure, I haven't quite decided what I'll do with them yet. So once I get the squash cut back and harvested, I'll have a better look at the cantaloupe and we'll go from there. But hopefully we'll get a pretty good cleanup going in this bed today and a lot of beautiful pumpkins and squash harvested. So come on, let's get in here. So you can see there's lots of squash and pumpkins in there. I think you can see all that orange kind of poking out in there, but the vines are just looking terrible. Right in there, and then that's the cantaloupe in the middle there. There's actually 3 on there. I thought I only had 2, but the squash definitely needs to go. Oh, I see a cantaloupe dropped from the vine. That's a Minnesota midget there, so we'll have to get that and have a little snack after all this hard work today. But let's get this bed cleaned up. We'll start by going through, and when your squash is ready to harvest, it'll be very difficult to puncture it with your nail. So you can see there, I'm pushing with my thumbnail and I'm making a bit of a mark, but I'm not going through. So that's what you want. So I'll just be going through and getting what I can here. So when I determined it's ready to harvest, I'm going to take it. And I think you can see the stem there. So normally the stem would be dried up. This one's not quite maybe completely ready. This is a Rouge Vif de Tempe. It's really close. Like I'm just barely get in there. But this stem, actually, now look at the stem, is not dried up. So I think I'll just leave the stem for now. I'm going to cut back any vines that are on it. Like I said, we have a few really nice days coming up here, so I'll just try and cut it back, encourage it to finish ripening. And hopefully in the next few days here, it'll be fully ripe. Just trying to follow some of these vines around so I know what I'm pulling up here. So I have different squash vines planted in each corner of this bed, as well as one in the very center. So I'm trying to follow the vines around a little bit to see, so I know what I'm harvesting. It's not always the easiest to trace them along here, and a lot of squash look very similar. So I'm trying to get around the zinnias here. I'm following through, and this vine here is a new rocket pumpkin. And I'm just trying to figure out which actual squash it belongs to. So there's some coming around from the other side. Rid of this vine that's attached to nothing. Oh, it might have been attached to this, so that was coming, I think, from the other direction. It's not quite right, but I cut it off, so I'll leave it there. It's the trouble with squash. These vines all get mixed together, and then it's hard to know what's where. Cutting as much leafy growth back as I can to try and... So I don't know how you can see this big guy right here. He's feeling pretty good and ripe. He's got a nice green stem. So I'll try and cut the stem off. if you set your squash in a kind of a sunny, warm but not hot place, kind of out of, just in bright light. I find my basement window works well. They'll usually ripen up a little bit more for you if they're not quite ripe and you need to take them. So if you're threatened with frost and can't get things covered up enough, or the frost can be too much for that, then you can just cut them if they're close and set them somewhere, and they will finish ripening a little more. Got that guy, this guy. So this is the new rocket, and I think that little one was as well. Can just, like, it's just different, like how hard it is to press, and the color is just a little bit duller, and you can see this one here wasn't quite ready. It's just brighter, but I'm pretty sure these are both the same variety. So I'm trying to leave the stem that's connected to this and take out, there's one just running along here that's not, so I'm trying to not mix them up. Take out the one I can. Here's that little cantaloupe, pretty tiny. It must have fallen off the vine. It has a soft spot here, so I'm not sure how good it is. So I have another Rouge Vif de Tente right here. It's not looking the healthiest, but it is close to ripe. I still don't think it's ripe though. These are, oh, I just broke it off the stem. These are one of the longest day pumpkins that I have. And I grew them just, I think they're really decorative. I really just like to see how they look outside, but it'd be nice to get some to full maturity and be able to try them. But this should be cougar, yeah. So over here I have a plant that's a cougar pumpkin, and I'm pretty sure that's a cougar down there, but I think I have a few that are the pepita. So there's this one here. I think might be, oh, a slug. There might be a pepita pumpkin, and they're supposed to be a seedless, like you grow them for the, or not seedless, but you grow them, the seeds don't have the shell on them, so they're like for like snacking on the seeds. That's why you grow them. And I actually think that's what that belongs to, so I'm gonna try to cut these back. So I can see where they go. I'm just kind of taking one leaf at a time off. Or stem. It's hard to tell sometimes. So yeah, this one here goes. This all goes all the way back to the opposite corner of the bed here. And so this is a pepita. I think there's a better name for this. I just can't remember what it is, but this is what you grow for the seeds for snacking on. And it's close, but again, not ripe. So I thought these were way more ripe than they are. So I'll leave this attached to the vine as long as I don't accidentally cut the vine as I work my way down there. But hopefully a few more days in the sun we'll get it ripening up. I think there's another one here. So we'll just keep cutting these vines back. Leaf by leaf. So this guy here that has a slug on him. Ugh. This is a cougar down here for sure. And then this goes back to the pepita. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it's heavy. So that's a pepita. This is a pepita. The cougar, I'm pretty sure from the greenness on the top, isn't quite ready. That pepita is very close as well. So I am just going to keep trimming the leaves back because they're very diseased anyways. They're not really supporting these squash. I just want to make sure I don't cut the stems that are attached to the vines. So there's one more pumpkin in the back. I don't know if you can just barely see the bit of orange back there by my finger. I'm gonna have a look at it, and I'm just gonna keep working my way down, cutting the leaves off and checking on these. It looks like they're not quite as ripe as I thought, but like I said, we have a really warm week going. I'm gonna cut because these leaves are just, they're diseased. They're not, I don't know how well the powdery mildew shows up, but they're not really providing much for the squash anyways. So I'll just keep cutting them off. You don't need to see me going through here cutting leaf by leaf off and looking at these. I'll show you in the end what I wind up harvesting and what it looks like, and try and clean this up a little bit. Okay, so I harvested 4 pumpkins. This, I'm pretty sure, is a new rocket here. So these 2 here, these smaller ones, might be neon. I'm not sure, I just couldn't tell for sure where the vines came from. They might be the new rocket as well. And then this is the Rouge Vif de Tempe that broke off the vine on me. Then I have this little cantaloupe that was just laying on the ground, so I'll take it in and cut it, be like a bite-sized morsel, but it smells good. I think it'll be good, even though it has a little bit of a soft spot. This is a Rouge Vif de Tempe I'm gonna leave to grow a little bit longer. And then I showed you the 2 pepita, what are they called? Styrian hollis, that's the actual name of them. So those 2 little squash pumpkins I'll leave to hopefully ripen up this week, as well as the cougar pumpkin that's down there that I showed you. And I've just moved them up. They were all laying on the ground, kind of in a shadier area. So I moved them up higher, so they should all get some sunshine on them this week, which I think will help. And then there is a neon back in the corner over there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show it to you in a minute. And that's everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 pumpkins out of a 4x8 bed. And then I also have the cantaloupe. I've had one Minnesota midget that was 2 to 3 times the size. It was delicious. And then I have actually 4 on this plant. I cut this plant back a little bit. This is the tip top melon. And they're close. They're getting very close, but they're not ready. I cut a lot of the dead leaves off. I didn't cut everything off of it. It's looking pretty good though. So this bed is a lot more cleaned up than it was, but some more ripening to do on some of these plants. So thanks for coming along with me while I picked some squash and melon. I'll probably just leave these here for the day. Just let them kind of harden off a little bit more, and then I'll move them in. But it's supposed to be nice tonight and nice today, so they should be fine. Thanks for coming along. If you enjoy seeing squash and pumpkins get harvested, then give this video a thumbs up. There's lots more cleanup and harvest to go in my garden, and it's that time of year, so that's what I'll be doing. See you in the next video. Bye. That is a neon pumpkin. There's 2 Styrian hollis, cougar, new rocket. I'm not sure. These are new rocket or neon. I'm not sure. Rouge Vif de Temp and Rouge Vif de Temp.